Oh, hi there, big boys, and welcome to my review of Stranded Sails, and it's got a subtitle. Let's find out what it is. Explorers of the Cursed Islands, for the Nintendo Switch. It's fine. This is a fine game. It's just sort of, a bit boring and grindy, and a bit, like, sort of, So it's the style of, like, Harvest Moon, Stardew Valley, that sort of thing, except the gimmick of it is that it's based around some isles, and you use a little boat to go around to the different isles, and it's more quest orientated, I would say. And yeah, it's just not particularly fun. It's just kind of boring and a bit annoying, and you'll see why later on. The main mechanic, which is really annoying about the game, is the fact there's an energy meter, and the energy meter can be filled with food. But at the start of the game, especially, you don't really have a lot of food or any food, and you lose all your energy in about 3-4 minutes, which might be quite realistic for people like me. But for the person in this game, that's not particularly very fun. Even walking takes up energy, which means sometimes you'll pass out right outside your bed just because you just didn't have enough energy to do it, which is really annoying. It's really annoying. The game looks really blurry and fuzzy on the Switch, and it runs at 30 FPS. Pretty solid 30 FPS to be fair, but come on. And the art style's pretty basic. There's no pretty particles or anything like that. And the UI all looks really basic and mobile-y, sort of. I don't know about that. And I feel like it should be running better, really, for what it is. But oh well. Oh well. What can you do? It's not a particularly Twitch shooter or anything like that, is it? So that's fine. So the game gives you quests, and the quests are such as, oh, go get me this item and give it back to this character. And then you do that, and then they'll give you another item or another quest or another house, or something like that. Which is, I mean, it's, as I say, the fact it's more quest orientated for me is a bonus. I like to be more actually have a goal rather than just be open and have to make my own sort of fun. So that's good. Except the quests are just so boring that it's just boring, and the controls are really finicky. The analog stick changes what you're using, so you sort of move to left and right to change the sort of folder of items, and you move it up and down to change the actual item, which could work well, but it just doesn't. It just doesn't work. And the UI just looks, as I said earlier, it just doesn't look very professional. It looks really, ugh. And it could really benefit from touchscreen support. That'd be really nice. I feel like it would be a lot simpler to do, especially for the bits where you're managing your inventory and stuff. So it's had quite a lot of updates since launch about 2 years ago, and they're still getting updates now, which is really good. I love it when games do that because it means they don't get abandoned, they actually get improved on, and then one day they might actually be a solid game. So yeah, that's good. I would keep your eye on it, on this game, just in case, but I just think as of now the game still is really annoying to play. Yeah, especially the energy. I just don't like. I've never liked energy or timers or anything like that in games. I like to just explore and just do what I want without having to worry about it. The thing about the progression of this game is that that's basically how it works. You get more food, so you can eat the food while you're going on your trip. So that means you can go further, which means you get more items. I get the idea of that, but I just don't particularly like that idea. There's no personalization really of the village or anything like that. Every village is gonna look the same, and it does it for you. They just sort of build a house for you. Which is annoying, again, because it just makes it feel a little bit more a little less personal and feels more... It's sort of like they're trying to make an RPG mixed in with Harvest Moon, because you even get like a sword at one point. You get new items and mechanics are introduced. Like, took a good, I'd say I'm about 6 hours in so far. I haven't finished it because I don't really want to. Yeah, I only just got the sword recently, and that's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. So there's always new stuff to unlock. Exploring is exciting as well because again, you don't really, there's always going to be new stuff to find. And the map's decent size. It's going to take you a little while. And the game seems pretty long. I don't think I'm near the end yet. Yeah, and it's just, I just sort of feel like there's so many better games that does this sort of style of game better that you shouldn't really, unless you really are into these sort of games, maybe then you might find some interest in it. But I just think there's much more quality experiences to be having with your life, and I just think it's kind of boring, to be honest. But I do think if they could somehow improve I don't know, the energy system mainly, because that's the bit that annoyed me, and maybe some of the controls, because they're adding lots of new stuff like new love interests or something like that, and new stew and foods and stuff. It's just like, that's good, but I don't know, it needs a bit more of an overhaul for energy, I reckon. And they did do a recent one with letting you fast travel, but it takes up consumables, so it's like, oh. But I guess it's difficult to balance. But regardless, yeah, that is Stranded Sails. on the Switch. It's a decent game. It's not a bad game. I feel like it's just, unless you're really desperate for a game like this and you haven't got, or you've played all the other ones, you might as well go play one of those games, really. But it's a good try, and I think they, you got to give them some props. I mean, the story's not particularly interesting either, and the writing's quite awful because everyone calls you my boy or something like that, and it just feels a bit gross, a bit weird, a bit odd. So yeah, it's fine. It does the job, I suppose. But I just wish the game was a bit more interesting and had a bit more going on, really, because I just get bored, and the fact I have to keep you'd like almost have enough energy to get the item you need, but you don't just have enough, so you have to go back and then do some farming, and it's like, oh, this takes so much time. But yeah, that is Stranded Sails Nintendo Switch. So yeah, thanks for watching, big boys. See you at that point in time, and bye.